And we have a memorandum from Mr. Bloom on a change to the comprehensive plan, which is remanded back to us from City Council. You care to comment on that, Mr. Bloom?
Honorable Chair and Planning Commission, at the November 7th Council meeting, the City Council did not certify your land use plan amendment. That was actually considered at your October 9th Planning Commission meeting. They asked that you guys basically reevaluate required findings 2, 3, and 4 that are detailed in the staff report. This was a very unique situation. This was in response to the proposed mini storage development that's proposed over on Evans and Centennial Court. There was a companion application for rezoning to B2 that did come to it was a public hearing held here on October 9th. Both those items did go to council on November 7th. Typically what we like to see is that the land use plan is certified, meaning you guys act accordingly, but they chose to remand it back. At the subsequent City Council meeting on November 21st, they did review the zoning petition that is still asking that the property be rezoned to B2. The applicants were present at that meeting. They provided an updated PowerPoint presentation. They had detailed some items they had done regarding public outreach, talking to neighbors, and then had indicated that they would be willing to rezone to a B1 zoning, so a less intense zoning at that location. So the City Council did approve that ordinance on first reading on the 21st. So with that being in mind, it appears that the Council has likes the direction that this is going from the applicant with the choice of B1 zoning. So they're just asking for you guys to reevaluate required findings 2, 3, and 4. Even before the meeting on the 21st, planning staff was in support of option number 3 under your alternatives here, which is basically to reaffirm by motion the prior action regarding the prior resolution, basically to reaffirm your prior action saying that we still believe that the land use plan amendment is appropriate for the area. If that were the motion that were made, as shown in the staff recommendation on the memorandum here, we would represent the same Planning Commission resolution that you all approved on October 9th back to the City Council. The applicant is present here, and they can provide some additional details on the proposal in the area. They can acknowledge that they will be requesting a B1 zoning for a smaller area, if you'd like, and they can also provide some more detail on the public outreach they have done. For any questions you have on the process, it is a rare process, but this is a process that we do have here.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. McKay.
Thank you, Chair. So what were the specific concerns about the land elevations?
Honorable Chair and Commissioner McKay, when this item was first presented to City Council on the 7th, there were concerns with the location of this item. One of the council members had indicated that it is actually lower than the interstate and it wouldn't create the buffer that the applicants and staff had indicated as a required finding. In response to that, the applicant had their engineering firm put together a contour map, which is shown on-site contours. It's an attachment on this to demonstrate that the storage complex actually isn't in a valley. It's actually even with the adjacent lands in some areas, it'll actually be taller, so it will accomplish that sound buffer between the interstate and the residential uses. So there's just a concern that the houses would look over the interstate. I can provide, or over the storage complex to the interstate, and I want to provide buffering.
Yeah, no, that's what I thought. I was just trying to figure out why that was a problem when there's nothing there right now, and the houses look right onto the interstate anyway. So I was just trying to kind of wrap my head around why we were concerned about land elevations. But anyway, that answers my question.
Correct.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom.
You're welcome.
Does the applicant care to comment?
Paul Hoffman, the original developer out there and a partner in the self-storage. I am happy to answer questions that went to council or the history of it, or more specific on the self-storage. I don't want to take your time if you don't have any questions, but there were some things brought up in the first council meeting, like the elevations, that, in my opinion, were not correct. So we went back through and proved it. Real quick, I'll just highlight, we did a neighborhood meeting. We did a walkthrough twice of the neighborhood and handed out flyers. We had 2 people come to the meeting last week that were neighbors, both in support. According to my math, we have 80 of the households, which include the apartments on the end, are yes for what we are proposing to do. There were nobody that said no. Nobody spoke against it. And there's 91 people that didn't. We don't know what their opinion is, but we did invite everybody to the neighborhood meeting. So we kind of went backwards from what you've already done, and now we're coming back full circle because we did send out the city sent out the required 300-foot buffer. We had 2 council members walk it personally with our team. Councilor Stone was one of them. Stoner, excuse me, and so Klaus Hansen was, and then Janet Pierce walked it on her own. So we've vetted it quite a bit. I know items 2, 3, and 4 were coming back to you. You know, I've kind of studied staff's response and feel like they were correct, and this will be an opportunity to continue what I think is a nice development out there, and we think that absolutely self-storage is better than lower quality apartments, and so does the neighborhood. So I can answer any questions more specifically.
Okay, that's just specifically to the remandment, and but thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have CPA 17.01, an amendment to the Laramie Comprehensive Plan 2007, a future land use map. And the request is for a land use plan amendment for UR urban residential to SC suburban commercial for an area approximately 1.5.
That is the remandment item.
Yeah.
You're rereading the remandment item.
Okay.
The motion for the remandment's on the memo if you choose to go with staff's recommended motion to finish that item up.
All right. I was just reviewing the memorandum and then moving on to the agenda item. And so if we're good to go, do we have any discussion on this, or we can move on to the motion? Okay. Are there any public comments on this?
My name's Brian Caldwell. I'm actually from Cheyenne, but I'm a student in Charles's and Derek's class. We have a complex out there that's actually apartments. It's right off of I-80. I know a lot of people when I was in the service that lived in that particular establishment. However, they weren't very pleased with the sound pollution that did come off the interstate. I know that storage complex may not always seem most inviting, when you look off the interstate, but it would, from what they're describing, it would offer the sound buffer people would be more open to the idea of living in that area, I believe, just for that sound buffer and not hearing the constant traffic. Laramie gets a lot of his on I-80, so you'll get a lot of 18-wheeler traffic, which can make a lot of noise. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you could pass on. Okay. So are we good to go on? Do I need to announce what this, are we clear on, for the record, what this agenda item is? Or do I need to repeat?
No, you're fine.
I'm still getting used to this, and it's going to take a little while. Okay, is there any discussion from within the commission on this, or if not, I'll entertain a motion. Okay. Commissioner Roth.
I move to reaffirm prior action on Planning Commission Resolution 2017-01, upholding the prior approval of Planning Commission Resolution 2017-01.
I will second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this? Mr. McKay.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank the developer and the city council members and everybody else who went out and walked this area. I don't remember the last time I heard about this amount of effort going into getting public support in the area. So that's awesome. I thank you for that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner McKay. Is there any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4 in favor. Any opposed? So we have a motion by Roth, a second from McKay, and that is, we have a vote to approve of 4-0.